Hi, this is Andre. I want to talk about unrounded multiply, which simply means that you can change the length of your loop to make it shorter or longer than it originally was after you've recorded it. Here's a loop I built up off camera. Not a lot of rhythmic activity going on, it's kind of an ambient textural thing. So on the EDP, the easiest way to do an unrounded multiply is you define the new start point of your loop by pressing multiply, and you define the new end point by pressing record. So, start point, end point. It's as simple as that. Now this is a completely different loop. We took a little snippet out of it. Now you can also make the loop longer than it originally was. Let's start a multiply. Let's wait till it gets to after 2 multiples. There we go. So it's somewhere between 1 and 2 multiples of the original loop length. Now we can shorten that down again. New start point, new end point. I want to get that little glitchy thing, so I'm going to emphasize that more. There we go. So a regular multiply on the EDP is rounded. That means that if you start with multiply and end with a second press of multiply, it's going to round to the end of the nearest multiple. So for instance, we're multiplying, now we have 2 cycles. I pressed it a second time to stop the multiply process and it rounded up to 2 even cycles. Unrounded multiply means that you're not rounding it up to an even multiple. So let's say I want to change the time signature on this. Let's say we want it to be in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's make this 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's make it 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a tiny snippet of it. Let's multiply that out. Actually, no, let's do a few more unrounded multiplies because I want to get a glitchier sound happening. There we go. There we go. Add something on top of that. Let's multiply that out. Sure, let's do 2 even multiples. Okay, now we're going to turn it into a 3-4 loop instead of a 4-4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's go back to 4-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And how about 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I like that. Let's look at imposing some kind of groove on top of this loop. And rather than try to fit a groove inside the current length of that loop, let's impose something completely separate. So I'm going to set up a different kind of pulse just with my left hand. And I'm going to enter it with my right hand. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've turned it into a groove at a completely different tempo with a completely different length just by using unrounded multiply to define the start and end points. I'm just going to take a tiny slice out of this. So now let's talk about how you can actually get a SUS version of an unrounded multiply just from the front panel. This is a little unusual because we're actually going to go to an insert parameter to do this. So we're going to go to the parameters, go to the second row from the bottom, go to the insert column, And right now, insert mode is set to replace. We're going to set this to sus. We haven't talked about what sus insert does in the video series yet. We will definitely get to it, but we're not going to really address it right now. For right now, all you need to know is that by changing the insert value to sus, it's also going to change multiply into an unrounded sus multiply. So let's get out of parameters, and I'm just going to briefly tap it, and that defines the new start and end points by however long I'm pressing down the loop for it. So if I just tap it very briefly, you get super short loop lengths. You can start with that and then extend that out by holding it down for a longer period of time. You can play something over that. Let me do some kind of rhythm with the left hand while I press the button with the right. There we go. Let's do a totally different rhythm at a different tempo. Grab another little slice again. Let's do another tempo. That kind of idea. Now let's talk about the difference between SUS Unrounded Multiply and SUS Record, because at face value they sound very similar. I'm going to my record mode here. I'm changing it from toggle to sus. Now, in the most basic sense, they both let you get very short, granular, glitchy sounds. If I tap SUS Unrounded Multiply, you get that kind of sound. If I tap record, you get that kind of sound. The main difference here is that if you use SUS Record, you're completely overwriting whatever you had with a brand new loop every time you press it. So this is now a totally different loop than what I had before I pressed that. Whereas if you use SUS Unrounded Multiply, it's actually going to overdub layers on top. So can you hear how the layer is getting thicker because each time I press SUS Unrounded Multiply there are more notes being added in? Whereas if I use SUS Record, it immediately goes back to just being a brand new loop. And you can use them in conjunction with each other. Let's give that a try. All kinds of little artifacts, which personally I love. Now, SUS Record to the rescue. I kind of like that. Goodbye, fake fella cootie loop. Hello, square pusher loop. Yeah. So that's a very rough crash course in Unrounded Multiply. I love this feature. I use it all the time. Being able to completely redefine the length of your loop on a moment-by-moment basis, having it be much shorter or longer than the original loop length, is a huge thing for me. It's one of the things that really sets the EDP apart from pretty much everything else under the sun, except for the software that's designed to emulate it. So, crash course in Unrounded Multiply. Thank you so much.